Hello there, and welcome to another Costumer Confidential. It's been a little while, but we've been busy in the background. I'm wondering if a lot of you have been watching that new series, Bridgerton, because today's episode is going to be a lot about Bridgerton. Is it accurate in costuming? Let's talk about that. First of all, I love the series. I have seen most of it already, and it is an absolute confection. It's a Regency romance. The colors in it are absolutely stunning. And it is almost like if you think about a plate of French macaron in front of you, all those lovely, lovely colors. That's what that series is like for me. I did some research after I had watched a few episodes because I obviously saw some things and thought, well, that doesn't look like the Regency that we do. And the costume designer, whose name is Ellen, I think it's Morojnik or Moroynik, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce her last name. Ellen has had an amazing background in costuming. She's done costuming for many, many feature films and TV series. She apparently spent 5 months in prep for this series, which doesn't surprise me at all. And altogether, there was 7,500 individual pieces of costuming that were involved in this production, which is pretty spectacular when you think about it. They did use a lot of things from stock from different other, productions and that kind of thing, but a lot of things were made specifically for this production. Now, the actual lines of the clothing are quite correct. She's got the whole Empire line thing going on with the dresses, like the Empire being the waist is high. And now, the one thing that's a little bit of a funny thing, the underpinnings, I did see a picture in one episode of somebody getting laced into a corset. To me, the corsets look a lot later than a Regency corset, and it doesn't quite give the exact shelf look that you're looking for in a Regency bust. Usually there's a little bit of separation in Regency, but in this particular one, they're really pushed up and out. But I think that is for reasons of making it look really young and flirty and fun. So that's the whole idea of that. So the underpinnings, maybe not entirely correct, but still, it gives the right effect. Most of her necklines, though, are scoop necks, and she did that on purpose also to give it a young, flirty look. There was lots of other necklines available at the time. Like you can see the V-neck here. This particular dress has it's quite straight across, and another and actually this is quite a typical type of pattern at the time. Another typical neckline would have been a square neck, very much so, but she didn't want to do that. She wanted to give that young look, and it works perfectly in the series. Now, what about the colors of the dresses? Because that really knocks you out as soon as you see it. The Bridgerton family is pretty well all dressed in soft, misty, very whispery colors like pale pinks, pale greens, pale blues, sort of a silvery color. And that's because they're old money and very, very proper in their dress. The Nouveau Riche family, which is the Featheringtons, which is on the other side of the street, are in these wild prints, which are certainly not Regency prints. Crazy colors. One particular girl is unfortunately always in a bright yellow, which doesn't suit her. She's a redhead. It doesn't really suit her. And she does actually mention a couple of times, I'm in yellow again. And it's a very bright yellow. Why is that done? Because you want to see the Featheringtons as nouveau riche. They're brash. They're new money. So that's why they've done that kind of thing. Yes, the prints aren't quite right. The costume designer doesn't care. She's trying to show character as opposed to anything else. One thing that really struck me in one of the episodes, one of the main characters, it was Daphne, who is one of the main characters, Daphne Bridgerton. She is wearing could only be described as a shrug that's definitely 1950s. I looked at it and thought, well, that's not right. But you know what? It worked for the character. It absolutely worked. And the idea here wasn't to be a slave to costume accuracy. And there's a lot of costuming sites that just rip everything apart because it's not completely accurate. Another sort of point to be made, for example, is Hastings, which is the wonderful lead character, wears the most fantastic boots in almost every scene. They're top boots. They look like Wellington boots, actually, or some of them are Hessian boots. And the thing is, he wears them even on the ballroom floor and on his wedding day. Well, no gentleman would have worn boots at the ball. He would have worn kind of satin or silk pumps with little heels. On his wedding day, he would have worn that type of formal shoe. He wouldn't have been wearing boots. So that type of thing, costumers notice. I'm the kind of person you don't really want to go to a period movie or something with, because I'm always saying things like, oh, that hat's wrong. Look at that neckline. That's wrong. She's not wearing underwear. And my friends just want me to shush all the time. But I have to admit, much as there was a lot of things in Bridgerton that were kind of questionable, it was so much fun, and the stuff is so colorful and so beautifully done. The line is there. The idea is there. It's just in the details that you have things. Now, here's a little detail, too. If you look at what they're wearing on their heads, you almost never see an actual bonnet. Like, this is an idea of a Regency bonnet here. See the shape of this? Here's another one here, a slightly longer sort of elongated thing, and the same with this one. All right, so this is an actual bonnet with ties that actually is on the whole head. You also have the option of large hats like this that were quite spectacular, giving an almost military look to somebody. If you look at the women in Bridgerton, they're not actually wearing bonnets or hats for the most part. What they're wearing is actually more like just a little brim with silk and flowers, but there's not actually a whole structured bonnet on their heads. And actually, when asked about that, Ellen said that she felt that she wanted to put more emphasis on the hair and that on the froth of it. She didn't want it to look like the average period, series. So that's why you don't see the kind of hats you're used to seeing. The other thing I do want to point out is that Queen Charlotte and the court in all of their scenes are wearing a more old-fashioned type of clothing. They are wearing late 18th century. But you know what? The court is always behind the times when it comes to clothing, and always much more elaborate. And the late 18th century is incredibly elaborate clothing. Very, very appropriate for a monarch and her court. So that is not a problem at all for me. I think that would be actually quite typical. You also find that older people tend to wear the clothing of their youth. So that also is something that is not terribly unusual. The other thing that some people have mentioned to me periodically, to nothing to do with the costume, but the casting of the film, the series, was really interesting because it put a black presence all the way through society, which, we would sort of think to ourselves, if you think of any other Jane Austen thing that you've seen before, you haven't seen that. But here's an interesting thing that you may not know. Did you know that it was rumored that Queen Charlotte had black blood in her? She had black parentage, and somewhere in her line. And in fact, it was rumored that she was actually black herself. So I think the executive producer made a decision that, what if Queen Charlotte was black, really? And what if she decided that she would give favors to a lot of people also who were black? And then we have this much more equitable society. There's actually a point in the series where one of the black characters says to another one, well, of course, we're only where we are because of Queen Charlotte, And they actually say that to each other. But I, for one, thought it was a lovely breath of fresh air. I thought it was lovely to see casting, which is much more equitable, and I thought that was wonderful. So that, to me, was not a problem at all in the series. I thought it was amazing. I hope that if you haven't seen it, I hope that this will actually give you a little bit of a curiosity now to say, well, I'm going to go see if I can see this show and see what I think is accurate and what is not. I think you'll enjoy it, whatever you see. So that's Costume Confidential for today. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.